Hello, everybody. All right. So with that, well, we're at Hump Day, everybody. That means we're in the middle of the week, of course. I hope everybody's having a good time tonight. We're gonna probably be trying to get going pretty quickly here, as tonight we're going to be spending some time on Critical Blast site on RJ's site, as I'm going to actually be covering 7 articles from his site. 3 of them relating to animation, and 5 relating to comics. That basically a lot of this stuff has happened over the last couple. He's put up a lot of these um, articles up in the last couple of weeks, so we're going to actually be going over them. They usually are pretty quick reads, so we're going to probably get right to them here in a moment. As always, of course, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to do the best I can to to answer them. Anyways, while we're waiting for some more people to come, I've got to do a couple of things real quick here. I'm going to put on some music for a moment, take care of a couple of things, and then I'll be right back. All right. So, anyways, let's do something real quick here. Alrighty then. So with that, um, let's go ahead and so anyways, now so as I said, we're gonna probably get right into the articles tonight, as we do have quite a bit to go over. Of course, there's also as well. Of course, there'll also be this. We'll have the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history as well. So just all right. So with that. All right, so let's get right to this. I know we're starting a little early, but a little earlier than usual. But anyways, so here's the first article we're gonna go over. All right, so mergers collide in Justice League Ruby. submitted by R.J. Carter on Saturday, April 29th. So this one's from a little over a week ago. So let's see what he has to say here. And a little bit lengthier article, but still probably will be a pretty quick read, just knowing RJ. As I've always said, as I was telling even RJ earlier, he doesn't really editorialize a whole lot. So a lot of it's just information. So we'll see what's going on here. The acquisition of Rooster Teeth by Warner Brothers Discovery is showing some of its first efforts both in comics and comics-related animation. Over on the publishing side of the house, we are getting a mini-series that teams up the Justice League with the team from Ruby, as the girls chase their monsters over into our world. But on the animation side, it appears to be the opposite, but with a surprise twist. Justice League Ruby, Superheroes and Huntsmen, is the first part of an adventure that finds different members of the Justice League waking up in different regions of Remnant. Look at the animation there on the cover there, right? Look at that. Let's see. Their memories are muddled, and they've become transformed, and not into just teenagers, but in some cases into faunus, half human, half animal. Superman, in this one voiced by Chandler Riggs, is the first to awaken right in the middle of a fight between Ruby, voiced by Lindsay Jones, and Blake, voiced by Aaron Zek, and some nasty Grimm who are not playing by the usual rules of engagement. In an attempt to help, he discovers his powers have been greatly diminished. Maybe they've got an orange sun in Ruby, maybe? Or maybe it's kryptonite in the air. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Well, also, if it is a magical world, Superman has been known to be susceptible to magic, too. Anyways, let's see if anybody's come in yet. No, maybe. Guys, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Anyways, continuing on with the article here. The same holds true for Wonder Woman, who is voiced here by Natalie Allen Lind, who allows herself to be captured and brought to Yang, who is voiced by Barbara Dunkelman, and to Batman, who is voiced by Nat Wolff, who infiltrates a party for the rich and powerful to enlist the help of Weiss, voiced by Kara Eberly. The rest of the Justice League, Vixen, voiced by Ozioma Akega, Akaha, Flash, voiced by David Erigo Jr., Cyborg, voiced by True Valentino, and Green Lantern, voiced by Jeannie Tirado, find themselves students at the academy where they are being retaught how to access their semblance, what we would otherwise call a superpower. And Batman has bat wings now and other bat powers. I guess he's one of the ones they turn into a faunus. That may sound weird, but it's a unique plot point. Batman has never needed powers before, and he finds that having them may be a difficult thing to give up. Yep. Once you've touched godhood, or once you've touched superhuman, it's kind of hard to go back. That is something that I think we'd all face. Anyways, the mystery at hand is how and why the Justice League ended up in Remnant, or Remnant, yeah, yeah, Remnant. But as the story progresses, we find out that there's a much bigger mystery at play, one that will impact our Ruby heroines beyond them just meeting our DC heroes. The revelations will be something that carries the plot forward into the second part of the adventure, yet to be released. The animation here is well done, following the same thick line style reminiscent of Archer that we saw in Superman Man of Tomorrow. The plot drags on quite a bit, as a majority of what we see is one fight after another against grim creatures that exhibit abilities beyond the normal, including absorbing dust, in parentheses, if you know, you know. Um, we do get some we do get some nice character studies, however, with Batman experiencing superpowers and Green Lantern working through her anxieties. The writers pair just League members with Ruby World members in a way that allows them to learn from each other, with perhaps the most important being Superman and Ruby learning something about leadership from each other. The film is probably more enjoyable if you're already familiar with Ruby, but the story is presented in such a way that you don't get lost in the lore. And RJ rated this a 3 out of 5. So there we go with the first article. Then from him, as we said, will be okay. So we still have only 2 people, but still cool. Anyway, so getting ready to move on to the next article then. So these are going to be probably a little bit quicker. So, all right, and now here's one of the ones that when I saw it, I was really looking forward to, because this is like real old school. This is like golden age stuff, guys. Fleischer shorts get super cleanup for Blu-ray release. So yeah, Fleischer shorts get super cleanup for Blu-ray release. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about here, so back in like 1941, 42, 43, around there, Fleischer Studios, which was famous for which aside from these Superman shorts, also gave us, Popeye shorts of the 30s as well as Betty Boop. These were, the shorts, about 7 minutes each, that were released in theaters back then. You now can see them in collections on TV on certain classic channels and all that. So submitted by R.J. Carter on Sunday, May 7th, which was, of course, this past Sunday. Max Fleischer's Superman 1941-43, 17 theatrical shorts, speeding towards tomorrow. All new featurette, Superman speeding through tomorrow. Of course, these were also the shorts that were. So Superman in this was voiced by Bud Collyer, and Lois Lane was voiced by Joan Alexander. So, and then Collier would, of course, come back to voice Superman again in the Filmation Superman cartoons of the late 60s as well. So just to give you an idea of some more historical. So anyways, anyone wanting to see the masterful Max Fleischer Studios treatment of Superman has for years been able to get a cheap copy due to the shorts having fallen into the public domain. So why would you want to pick up yet another copy just because it's on Blu-ray? Because the transfers are infinitely better, cleaner, and brighter. Not only have all the pots, pits, potholes and scratches been cleaned up so that the animation is pristine, but the scans of the master prints take in even more of the artwork. So basically, what they're saying is that the Blu-ray release is actually a better quality than the ones that are already available. We tested the new Blu-ray side by side with previous releases of the shorts. As an example, the short quote volcano unquote had an ever-present pit during the opening scenes. This has been removed. Additionally, what we didn't expect to see was more artwork that had been cut off from all four sides in previous releases. So you're quite literally getting more for your money with this purchase. Quite a tempting thing to. Now let me go back up to this. Look at Lois Lane right there. Now that's some class. That's a classy look right there, guys. That's a real classy look right there. You know. Yeah, Superman carrying her in his arms, all that, probably saving her from another dangerous situation. For those who have never seen the Fleischer Superman shorts, you're in for a treat. Animation achievements pioneered by this studio through the process of rotoscoping, which Max Fleischer invented, created a two-dimensional animation fluidity that is rarely matched even today. If you're a fan of Superman, of comic books, of classic animation, or all of the above, then you will want to get up and away to get yourself a copy of these cartoon masterpieces. Let me rate this 5 of 5. So, all right. So now we got one more article from the animation portions here. All right. Alrighty then. Let's see. All Star Superman gets 4K for Warner's 100. So All Star Superman getting 4,000, I guess that's dollars or whatever. Submitted by R.J. Carter on Monday, May the 8th. Okay, so here we go with this one. There's another 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray digital code release. All right, so here, let's see what's going on here. All Star Superman is getting re-released on Blu-ray as part of the ongoing Warner Studios 100th anniversary celebration. So that means that Warner Studios came into existence, I guess, in 1923, 100 years ago. As far as Superman animated titles go, in parentheses, not counting the actual ongoing animated series runs, unquote, this particular story is a good pick. Adapting the limited series run by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, the animators managed to stick very closely to the style of the books while also retaining most of the story elements. The adventure begins when Superman, who is voiced here by James Denton, sets out to rescue a spacecraft from falling into the sun. Now, Superman has flown into and through the sun before, but we're going to forget that because this time the full-on exposure overloads his solar receptive cells, mutating him to give him some new powers, and also a death sentence. Superman is dying. That's just how Lex Luthor, who is voiced here by Anthony LaPaglia, planned it. The evil genius Lex Luthor. One of his schemes, huh? Right. Now, Superman has a deadline to get done some of the undone things left in his life, including revealing his identity to Lois Lane, who is voiced here by Christina Hendricks, giving her superpowers and a few other odds and ends. But he's also going to have to contend with the superpowered Atlas, who is voiced here by Steve Blum, legendary voice artist particularly in the English dubbing community. Among, of course, his other credits include Orochimaru and Zabuza from Naruto fame. Let's see. I know he's been Wolverine in a few of the more recent Marvel cartoon series in recent years. Roger Smith, Big O. Let me see. Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, to name a few. And Samson, John DiMaggio, another name that is pretty well known in the VA community, particularly in the last 15, 20 years here, both of whom have come to Earth to contend for Lois's hand. Now that Superman won't be around much longer. And of course, like Luthor, is going to put the final steps of his plan in motion, revealing assistance he's been getting from Solaris, who is voiced by Robin Atkins Downs. The Tyrant's son, who's been using Luthor to eliminate Superman for him. It's one over the top scene after the other. A Silver Age comic book adventure turned up to 11. It's loads of fun and ends on a point of hope and optimism that are the hallmark of the Man of Tomorrow. It's a 4 of 5 there. All right, so that's all the at least all the animation stuff out of it. So now let's go into the comics portion. And now there's like 4 articles here we're gonna go through here. See if anybody's here yet. 24:01, so we're making good time at least. Let's see. Nemesis Reloaded springboards into Miller World crossover event. Submitted by RJ Carter on Monday. RJ's been busy the last couple of weeks, hasn't he? When it's 8:38, I'm guessing that may be AM, but let's see now. So let's look this one over. In 1984, Mike W. Barr and Michael Golden introduced readers to a new villain, the Wrath. No, not Wraith, as in ghost. Wrath, as in righteous anger. It was in Batman Special number 1 in a story called, quote, The Player on the Other Side, unquote, and it dared to posit a villain whose origins mirrored Batman's, only with law and crime reversed. Um, the Wrath was an anti-Batman who was equal to the Dark Knight in tactics, skill, and physical prowess. Unfortunately for the readers, this was the character's only appearance. Now, the funny thing is, even though he was introduced, there have been other characters that have acted kind of like the quote-unquote anti-Batman. When Killer Moth was first introduced in DC Comics, he was, well, no, actually not when he was first. I think at some point, Killer Moth was turned into kind of an anti-Batman for a while there. I think it was sometime before he became Charybdis. Austin, I just recently watched an episode of the 2004 The Batman animated series, Warner Brothers series, in which they introduced. In fact, the funny thing is, I think that character was named Wrath as well. Same premise, wrath and scorn. Yeah. So just dawned on me that happened, and I just saw that. Yeah, same premise too. Years later, as Batman became more infallible in the comics, a new anti-Batman appeared. Prometheus, created by Grant Morrison, entered the DC universe in a one-shot called New Year's Evil Prometheus. In 1998, this character was more ruthless, destroying cities and maiming heroes. But he wasn't quite the same as the Wrath. He cheated. Okay. Now the Wrath, yeah. Now that I recall, Wrath was the name of the villain of a it was in the episode The End of the Batman for 2004, the Batman series, who Batman was voiced in that one by Reno Romano. Anyways, all his skills came from having a chip in his head that he could program on the fly with whatever talents he needed. That just made him an amped up version of the classic calculator to me, so I couldn't accept him as the evil Batman. Mm-hmm. Well, it reminds me of another character that I just saw on the Batman series that I've been watching lately. It took Mark Miller to give us that with Nemesis, and this antagonist-led series, Nemesis Reloaded, where Batman is the good guy who wears all black, Nemesis is the bad guy who wears all white. So kind of switching the trope, the classic Western trope of, okay, the good guys in white and the bad guys in black. So kind of the switch of that classic trope. Let's see. His skills are earned. His schemes several layers of Machiavellian plotting, and his drives are surprisingly relatable. His ruthlessness is unmatched, and he's willing to sacrifice anything and anyone with a shrug if it gets him closer to fulfilling his mission. Let me see if anybody's here yet. Oh. Anyways. All right, so this latest issue finds Nemesis holding the city of Los Angeles hostage with a nuclear bomb hooked up to a lie detector. And hooked up to the lie detector, the de facto mayor and former hero cop, Joe Costello. Nemesis has questions for Joe, which are being televised throughout the city. And if Joe lies, the city goes, even if it takes Nemesis with it. Um, Parentheses. Although part of me believes Nemesis had a way out for himself, even in a situation like this. He just plans that well. Unparenthesed. Let's see. The story also advances into the next phase of Nemesis' career with a quest that adds even more nods to the classic villains of the past and their gimmicks, ending with the shocking revelation, in parentheses, to the readers anyways, unparenthesed, of the fabric of Nemesis' world. Things aren't how they used to be, and nobody realizes it. But to tell you more about that would be to spoil the thrill of getting there, so I'll just leave you with the knowledge that you want to get this book, this series, and set aside a block of private time to enjoy it without interruption. In all in all the good comic shops everywhere on May 10th, which was of course today. So you can go out and get this book today, basically in your comic book shops. All right, so here's the next article we're going to look at here. In a city of justice, city of love, in a city of peace, every one of us, 'cause we all know it, can't live without it. A Gotham City, Gotham City, yeah. It's a new young justice in our. It is a new young justice in our future. Stargirl and the Lost Children, number 6, submitted by R.J. Carter, published yesterday at 18:05, which guessing would be 6:05 Central Time. I'm guessing. So here we go. One of the handful of titles that is making me optimistic once more about the publishing future of DC Comics has been Stargirl and the Lost Children, written by Jeff Johns and illustrated by Todd Knock. I think it's supposed to be by, not by you. Typo there by RJ, obviously. The 6-issue miniseries has chronicled the investigations of Stargirl and Emiko, aka Red Arrow, as they pursue clues about the sidekicks of the heroes of the Golden Age. Sidekicks that history has forgotten completely, except for an aging Dan the Dynamite, former sidekick to the explosive TNT. Of course, one of the lesser known DC heroes, a guy who was still a part of the All Star Squadron, but not necessarily a part of the Justice Society. Let's see. I've repeatedly said that Johns is a master of picking up loose and dropped plot threads in DC history and weaving them back together in such a way that no continuity gets lost, sometimes making it look like the story he's telling was the plan all along. Whether the threads come from 10 years ago or 60, so I'm unsurprised that Johns has been able to take up all these former sidekicks, some new ones that were used for a time, and then quietly written out of their stories. What happened to them? Where did they go? how were they all forgotten? Now, from my own research into DC history, of course, I know that TNT and Dan the Dynamite, I think, were regular features in a comic book known as Star Spangled Comics, which, of course, at differing times would also feature like the Guardian. I think even Robin had a few issues there and there where Golden Age Robin was featured in there as well. So, little tidbit for you guys. That's part of the story we get here, but there's more because these characters from the past now have a future in the DC universe, and that's why I think Todd Knock was brought onto the project. Knock was an instrumental part in an old fan favorite series from DC's history, Young Justice, a series that began with Justice League sidekicks before adding other teen heroes to the roster. Now, Young Justice is a little bit different from Young Justice, of course, at least in the comics, is a little bit different from Teen Titans, because the Young Justice sidekicks were the sidekicks of the Golden Age heroes, for the most part. Either I don't even know if they were the sidekicks; they were more like the kids of the Golden Age Justice Society members. Had Damage, who was the son of Al Pratt, and you had Adam Savage, who was the adopted son of Al Pratt and Mary James Pratt. You had Todd Rice and Jenny Lynn Hayden, aka Obsidian, and Jade, who were the biological daughters of Alan Scott and Rose Canton, Alex Foran, aka Thorn. You had, of course, Hector Hall, the son of Carter and Shiera Hall, and Lita Trevor, who is the daughter of Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman, Diana. So, and Helene, so anyways, getting back to, dare we hope that the JLA's predecessors, the Justice Society, of which Stargirl is a member, might have their own teen brigade in the making. A Young Justice Society? How cool would that be? Get this book without delay at your local comic shop. It's he gave the grade of 5 of 5. So, yeah, now, this is also obviously different from the Young Justice animated series that's been started up in 2010 and just finished up like last year, I believe. Yeah, it ran for 4 seasons over like something like a 12-year period there. Going through a number of different services and all that. So, anyways. Let's see. What next now? All right, here's something. Now I do know that RJ actually, probably published this article obviously after he did his show on it. This is actually this is based on a this review he did. he actually had this guy on his show on Monday here. So Vikings, Pirates, and more populate Edwin Acevedo's Raid of the White Leopard. Submitted by R.J. Carter, published at, I guess, 8:07 Central Time. As I said, he did a show with him on Monday there. So, Raid of the White Leopard Book 1 is a 20-page black and white comic book, parentheses, 16 pages of story plus bonus material, parentheses, about a band of Vikings who get caught in a storm and wash up on a mysterious island. The first issue contains 2 connected stories, bringing the tale together from opposing sides and meeting in the middle. Written by Edwin Acevedo, in parentheses the Ace, and drawn by Avery Butterworth, the Lost Page, in parentheses Lost Pages. Raid of the White Leopard sports a cover by Donnell DeLay of Brutus the Badass, and colors by Alan Alonso, the Lost Pages too. We sat down with Acevedo to talk about the story, how it came to be, and what directed him to use the Fund My Collins platform as a launch pad for this endeavor. The video and the funding campaign both follow. So, yeah, and this episode of Critical Blast is on Monday night as well. So, there you go. And of course, earlier tonight, RJ was doing his show on First World from Doc Bishop. So, anyways, there we go with that one. Let's see, 42 minutes. So, yeah, I'm making very good time here with this. I think we got 1 or 2 more articles to go through, then we will start winding down. Let's see, how many more here? Oh, actually, we're at the last article already. Okay. All right, so untapped potential in rushed story, the cult of that Wilkin boy. All right, like an interesting title. Submitted by RJ Carter on Tuesday, yesterday, 13:54. So that'd be like 1:54 in the afternoon, I believe. Of course, I believe that's Central Time. So let's take a look at this one then. And apparently, this is from the Archie horror line, as they said. So the Archie horror line has had its share of successes, translating the beloved all ages teenagers into subversive fright fest figures. Jughead the Hunger has our burger binging boy become a werewolf. Vampironica sees our rich glamour girl reveal her immortal blood-sucking side. Let's see. The chilling adventures of Sabrina. Well, Sabrina was always a witch, but the tales here were more deeply mired in demons and gore. It was an experiment that I surmise even surprised the publishers when it began with Afterlife with Archie, a zombie tale that achieved remarkable success and yet somehow went remarkably unfinished despite the publisher expanding the line to other titles. So you got Jughead as a werewolf, Veronica as a vampire, you got Sabrina in a much more darker take, and you got Archie as a zombie. All right. So all you're missing here then are Betty and Reggie. What did they turn out to be? Hey, maybe if you were even read the books here, maybe we'll even find I don't know, maybe darker version of the Groovy Ghoulies too while we're at it. That might be interesting. Chilling Adventures presents the cult of that Wilkin boy introduces Bingo Wilkin into the franchise. Lead character of his own series, Bingo Wilkin, his girlfriend, Samantha Smythe, and the rest of the cast were drawn in the immediately recognizable Archie house style, but almost never intersected with the Riverdale gang. An oft overlooked character, it was refreshing to see him get some use again, and I was intrigued to see what a horror makeover might do to him. Having already been familiar with the work of Cullen Bunn and happily satisfied with what I saw in the artwork of Dan Schoening, I plunked down the requested $3.99 and anticipated some intrigue. So now we're going to get into the to the critique here. Let's see. Alas, what I got was an uninspired half plot built around the tropes of the musician selling his soul for stardom at the crossroads, no less. So let's acknowledge the mythology of the legendary blues singer Robert Johnson. We meet Bingo as he's reminded that it's been 7 years since he achieved this stardom, and that his bill will soon come due. He travels alone back to the empty streets of his hometown of Midville to meet up with the demon and renegotiate his contract. When it's no dice, out of nowhere, we find Bingo brought a throng of his fans to physically tear the demon apart. And good to know eternal powers and principalities can be physically overcome if you have enough bodies to throw at. Yeah, that's a little. I can see that. I can see RJ's criticism right there in the sarcastic tone of that. Basically, you want to stop a super powerful demon? Just get thousands, millions of your fans to just tear him to shreds. That will do it for you. He then proceeds to offer a contract to another up-and-coming singer, again producing the, quote, now you see them, now you don't, unquote, gaggle of true believers. And there it ends. Perhaps it's the constraints of the one shot, but I was looking forward to something that could have launched into a series with vibes of CW's The Cult or Fox's The Following. I didn't even get Jonestown or a good golden fiddle. Instead, I just got an overwhelming sense of disappointment for a missed opportunity. He ranked this 3 of 5. So there we go. So basically, a lot of this is review stuff primarily. RJ was doing, spelling error here and there. So we had a couple of 3s, a couple of 5s, so in there. So, anyways, We're at the 50-minute mark now, so it would be a good time to start speeding things along a little bit here. Go over obviously go over some um, um, wrestling, some wrestling news here. Very quickly here, of course. So, so first off, with some WWE news. So basically, basically, the World Championship that they're putting together for Raw, and people were wondering, well, why they'd have SmackDown competitors competing for that title. It would appear that the reason being because they felt, first off, part of it was they felt they didn't have enough talent on Raw to fill out the brackets, but also they didn't want to put certain people in the tournament, to kind of diminish or kill their pushes. And most notably, of course, Gunther and Solo Sikoa. Gunther, the current Intercontinental Champion, who is currently being pushed real strongly, and Solo Sikoa, who's also being pushed real strongly. Oh, comics recap. Got here late. Yes, you did. I just finished the comics article just like a few moments ago. I actually did. I read over 7 articles from RJ. JR, you can always go. You can always go back and afterwards on the replay and watch it all again. I basically covered like 7 articles. 4 of them were review of comics, including the one from his show on Monday. So, anyways, of course, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, seeing we get some more friendly people here, and of course, as always, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to get to the. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So as we continue on here, then with the wrestling wrap up here, let's see. There's still some confusion as to how they're going to resolve the women's title situation, as of course Bianca Belair, who of course is currently the Raw Women's Champion, was drafted to SmackDown. Rhea Ripley, who is a SmackDown Women's Champion, was drafted to Raw. Okay, so they're still trying to figure out exactly how they're going to resolve their situations. Yeah, I just personally, I just think you should just stop with the brand split already. That's my own personal opinion. Just stop with the brand split already. Just combine everything back up. Unify the titles. Unify all the titles again. Have one world champion that defends on both shows consistently. Same thing with the secondary title, Intercontinental United States, women's title, tag title, all that. Just make everything one again. That'd be my argument. And in AEW news, of course, tonight, Dynamite's going on right now. We'll probably go over the results tomorrow, of course. On tonight's Dynamite, of course, will include, of course, the main event. We'll see Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega taking each other on in a steel cage. That's further help further along their feud. Had been going on since the beginning of, and basically the beginning of AEW, or the time when Jon Moxley came in to the company. Furthering the feud, of course, between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, as Jon Moxley put it in his little promo leading up to the match here. the idea of iron sharpening iron, and who better for the Blackpool Combat Club to have them sharpen their iron than with the Elite. Couple title matches, of course. The House of Black defends the World Trios titles against a combination of Bandito and the tag team of best friends of Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor in what they're calling a House Rules match. In the other title match tonight, Orange Cassidy defends the international title against the Jericho Appreciation Society's Daniel Garcia, looking to regain some gold after having won and lost the Ring of Honor Pure title last year. In a no holds barred match between two women wrestlers, this is gonna get pretty nasty pretty quick. Anna JAS and of the Jericho Appreciation Society and Julia Hart of the House of Black will be taking each other on. Anna JAS will be looking to get revenge on Julia Hart for spraying mist in her eyes. Julia Hart will be looking to continue to not just physically but emotionally and mentally torment Anna JAS. And Claudio Castagnoli takes on Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Claudio Castagnoli takes on Ray Phoenix, one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Brothers, in a double Jeopardy match. And I did find out what this type of match is. Basically, the winner of this match gets a guaranteed title shot against the other. So if Claudio wins, he gets a guaranteed title shot at some point down the line for the Ring of Honor Tag Championships. If Ray Phoenix wins, he gets a guaranteed title shot against Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So to see how that all plays out. As I said, we'll probably and of course also happening on tonight's event will include Christian will be coming out to answer Wardlow as he issued a challenge to Wardlow for the TNT title last week. I think there's some other stuff that's going to be talked about as well. So with that, now that we're, as I said, we're at the 50, so we're going to probably just go just past hour mark here. That'll be okay though. So with all that being said, of course, why don't we, today being Wednesday, May the 10th, why don't we take a look back on this day in each history? Today being, as I said, today being May 10th, 2023. So let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! So first off, we're going to head back 75 years ago today. And on this date, 75 years ago today, the first issue of Little Annie Rooney from St. John Comics went on sale. St. John Publications went on sale on this date back in 1948. So on this date, 75 years ago today, the first issue of Little Annie Rooney from St. John Publications went on sale on this date back in 1948, 75 years ago. Comics were still selling for 10 cents or a dime at that point, 32 pages. So there we go. There we go with that one. Now moving on to the next piece of niche history. As on this next piece of niche history right here. Let's see. Going back 40 years ago today, back to 1983. On this date, back in 1983, Kurt Hennig would defeat Abdullah Ali Hassan in Portland, Oregon for the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship. So on this date, 40 years ago today, Kurt Hennig would defeat Abdullah Ali Hassan for the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship. This is, of course, the heavyweight title defended in the Northwest NWA Northwest territory, owned by Don Owens. So with that, let's see now. Let's see. So, and finally, one last going back 10 years ago today, one last piece of niche history here. Going back 10 years ago today. On this date, 10 years ago today, A1 Pictures Saint Young Men, which was a slice of life comedy manga, the film, the A1 Pictures anime film Saint Young Men, based on the slice of life comedy manga, premiered in theaters on this date back in 2013. Reviewed Jesus Christ and Gautama Buddha, the central figures of Christianity and Buddhism, respectively, are living together as roommates in an apartment in Tachikawa, part of the suburbs of Tokyo. When taking a vacation on Earth, they attempt to hide their identities and understand modern Japanese society. So that's basically the general premise of this film. This film was back 10 years ago produced by A1 Pictures. So with that, guys, I thank you all for being here tonight. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll be back here, of course, tomorrow with more niche news. Of course, among other things, we'll likely, depending upon if one's up, Chris Braley has put up another of his indie comic showcase articles. We'll probably be covering that. If that's not the case, then we'll find some other news. But come back tomorrow for more niche news. We'll, of course, in the wrestling wrap up, we'll probably talk a bit about what happened on tonight's Dynamite. And then, of course, as always, finishing off the show with this day in niche history. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.